Okay, if you're in a research lab or have ever been in one, you know this feeling. The deadline's creeping up, you're just staring at a problem, and you have absolutely no idea what to do next. It can feel so isolating, right? Like it's some kind of personal failure. But I'm here to tell you, it's not. So how do you get through it? That's what we're going to break down today.
This right here, this is a quote from a real grad student, and it just captures a feeling that is so relatable for so many people in academia. This isn't some hypothetical situation. It's the reality when you're juggling projects and classes and all that pressure to produce results. It's that knot in your stomach when a lab meeting is just around the corner. And let's just be crystal clear about this right from the get-go. Research, by its very nature, is a journey into the unknown. Hitting a wall or feeling totally overwhelmed isn't a sign that you're not cut out for this. It's a sign that you're actually in it. You're doing the work. The real challenge isn't trying to avoid getting stuck. It's learning the art of getting unstuck.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll walk through a super practical playbook for how to communicate. Then we're going to zoom out and look at how the lab culture itself can set you up for success. And finally, we'll dig into some of the big, tough questions that the whole academic community is still trying to figure out.
So, if we all agree that getting stuck is normal, what's the very first thing you do to get moving again? Well, it all comes down to what we're calling the proactive communication playbook, a clear, repeatable strategy for closing that gap between feeling lost and actually getting the help you need.
You know, the main idea here is pretty simple, but it is so powerful. Don't wait until you're completely drowning. Proactive communication means you reach out early, right when you start to feel like you're going off track. The key is to show up with specifics, not just this vague feeling of panic. That's what turns a panicked conversation into a problem-solving session.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in practice? It's really just a 4-step framework. First, just state the problem as clearly as you can. Second, give some context. Mention the deadline. And yeah, it is totally okay to say you're feeling stressed about it. Third, show that you've been working on it by explaining what you've already tried. And fourth, suggest a few possible next steps. This shows you're not just dumping a problem on someone's lap. You're an active partner in finding a solution.
And remember, your ask doesn't have to be for some huge hour-long meeting that's going to solve everything at once. Actually, small concrete requests are usually way more effective. Can they point you to a key paper? Is there a code template you could look at? Can they just help you figure out the very next step? Or maybe even connect you with someone else in the lab. These smaller asks are just so much easier for a busy PI to help with quickly.
Now, this is a really crucial insight because it gives you a peek into your mentor's perspective. Your PI is juggling grants, teaching, managing who knows what else. They are not mind readers. So that stress that feels so obvious to you, it might be totally invisible to them. The responsibility to make the invisible visible, well, that often falls on you.
But look, taking action yourself is only half the battle. Your ability to speak up, to ask for help, is hugely shaped by the environment you're in. That's right, your lab's culture plays a massive role in whether you succeed. So let's talk about it. Think about your own lab meetings for a second. Are they basically a showcase for perfect, polished, finished results? You know, the kind of thing that creates this pressure to always seem like you're succeeding? Or are they a real space for problem solving? A place where you can show messy data, talk about what's not working, and brainstorm together? That cultural divide can honestly be the difference between a trainee who's thriving and one who's just struggling to stay afloat.
So what are the real benefits when a lab is cool with this kind of openness? Well, it cuts down on isolation because you quickly see that everyone hits roadblocks. It makes things way more transparent. And maybe most importantly, it shows what real research looks like. It's messy and nonlinear. This all helps build a truly collaborative vibe where asking for help is just normal. It's not the exception. So let's kind of boil this down. Across all the different situations we've looked at, 5 key principles for better mentorship just keep popping up again and again. Communication has to be proactive. Getting stuck is normal. Lab culture is absolutely critical. Expectations need to be spelled out clearly. And finally, both the PI and the student share the responsibility for making sure they're on the same page. These are the real foundations. But even if you nail all those principles, the conversation around mentorship is, well, it's far from over. There are still some really big unanswered questions that the academic world is wrestling with as we try to figure out the best path forward.
And here is a big one, and it is a tricky one. PIs are ambitious, right? They want to push the science forward, and that often means asking students to juggle multiple projects at once. But where is that line between a challenging workload and one that's just completely overwhelming? And how does that power dynamic make it hard for a student to say, hey, this is too much?
Then you've got this question of who really owns those big academic milestones. So when a student gets told to delay their qualifying exams to finish up a paper, whose timeline is that really? Is it the student's job to protect their own academic progress, or is it the PI's? Now, everyone agrees it should be a shared responsibility, but in the real world, that can be a really tough line to walk.
And this brings us right back to that core issue of visibility. We know PIs are busy, we know students can feel like they're just adrift, so what practical, concrete systems can a lab actually put in place to make sure that nobody falls through the cracks?
Well, some really interesting ideas are starting to pop up. Some labs are using these brief daily stand-up meetings just to check in on roadblocks. Others schedule specific big-picture meetings that are separate from the week-to-week grind. And even simple tools, like a shared lab calendar, or making it super clear that students can talk to other mentors in the department, all of that can make a huge difference.
So the crucial point here is this. There's no magic bullet. There's no one-size-fits-all policy that's going to fix this for everyone. Every PI-student relationship is unique. Every lab has its own rhythm. The real solution requires a deep commitment to open communication and regular check-ins to make sure everyone is and stays aligned.
And that leaves us with one last vital question to think about. Whether you're a student or a mentor, I want you to take an honest look at your own lab. Is its culture truly designed to support the messy, complicated, nonlinear process of real scientific progress? Or is it a culture that only rewards the appearance of success, forcing all the struggle, all the learning, and all the real work into the shadows? The answer to that question can make all the difference.